Welcome aboard Just Jets with your captain, Matt O'Leary. Buckle up and enjoy the ride.
Hello and welcome to episode number 40 of Just Jets. What's going on? I am Matt O'Leary, going to be hanging out with you. We got a lot to get into today, and we will be talking really about a ton of different things. Sam Darnold, not going to be playing this week. Again, it's going to be Joe Flacco. Jamal Adams, not great. Waiving Pierre Desir. Pat Elflin. Sorry, I mispronounced his name a million times. We have a ton to get into, and of course the voicemails. But before we get started, I wanted to talk to you today about Manscaped. I got with me the lawnmower. Excuse me, this is not the lawnmower. This is the Weed Whacker. And support for Just Jets comes from Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-belt grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. So for this holiday season, it's coming up. It's going to be here before you know it. You got to get your relative or even yourself the gift. Get it for yourself, man. You got to take care of yourself down there. Everyone's got to do it. Skin-safe technology is what does it for me. So I'm hooking you up with a 20% off discount and free shipping with promo code JETS20. That is promo code JETS20 at manscaped.com. 20% off free shipping. Use promo code JETS20. Get yourself something nice. So let's jump right into episode number 40. Like I said, a few topics that I want to hit on first before we get into the voicemails. We'll start with Darnold being out again with the AC joint nagging, and I really have no issue with him sitting this week out. To me, you got to get him 100% right. There's no reason to throw him back in a lost season, get him hurt even worse. That's what happened in Kansas City. To me, I don't think he ever fully recovered from the Denver hit. Both he and Mekhi Becton really had no business being in that game, which was, frankly, a little ridiculous that they got put back in that situation. But we're going to be with Joe Flacco, and I really don't think you should worry about Joe Flacco ruining the tank, which is something that I've seen a lot on Twitter. I don't think he gives the Jets that much of an upgrade. I would argue that Darnold has the higher ceiling, as we all know, and I know Joe Flacco played really, really well this past week against New England, or 2 weeks ago at this point, I guess. But ultimately here, what I wanted to get into was just how Sam Darnold has to be selfish right now. He does. He's been completely unselfish in his first 2.5 years with the New York Jets, but his future, 99.9%, is not going to be with the New York Jets next year. I usually say he's not going to be on the team next year at this point, but I've been getting jumped in the comments for some reason for saying that, which I'm not rooting for. I was not rooting for that to happen. It's just that's the way that this is going. The Jets are going to be picking in the top 3 at worst. I think picking first overall. Story for another day. But Darnold is not playing against the Chargers this week, and I really don't think that this is going to make too much a difference in the outcome. I don't really like their chances with Darnold. I don't like their chances without him. We'll get more into what I think about this upcoming game tomorrow in the video on the YouTube channel there. But ultimately here, I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference one way or the other. So that's just for some housekeeping for this upcoming week. We also found out that the Jets waived Pierre Desir, the tank king himself. And to me, he put the final nail in the coffin with his effort or lack thereof in the New England game. At the end of the game, he was not even trying. He was lightly jogging after receivers. He was terrible for the New York Jets. I know he was brought in to be a starting cornerback, but you only paid him $3.75 million. I think it was Connor Hughes online on Twitter said the Jets move on from Joe Douglas's big ticket free agent. Big ticket free agent. Pierre Desir, they signed him so late to begin with, and they gave him $3.75 million. He was not the big ticket free agent signing. Was he disappointing? Yes, of course. He was just as bad, if not worse, than Tremaine Johnson on the field. Cap situation and contract. Tremaine Johnson's contract obviously much worse. But the Jets decided to, waive Pierre Desir, and I have no issue with it. That means that Bless Austin's going to continue to get starts, and that Bryce Hall is going to continue to get starts, which is a good thing. I want to see what they have. I really don't care about guys like Pierre Desir or what they're going to do on this team because they're not a long-term piece. They aren't. They're really not all that. So he's not going to be on the team next year, which we knew from the beginning. But in the final 7 games, what I'm really looking for is, can Bless Austin show that he's a starter, or can Bryce Hall? And I know a lot of fans are really high on Bless Austin, and I think he's a really, really good tackler. I do, but I think he's struggled mightily in coverage. So I'd like to see that improve over the final 7 games. And Hall, I think I'm higher on. I really like Bryce Hall a ton. So let's get him on the field and see what this kid has. I don't see any situation where this is, not a good thing for the New York Jets. Getting Hall on the field is good. Let's see all the rookies, please, in 2020. There was another signing as well. Pat Elflein. So he was a 3-year starter. He started just 1 game this year. He can play center or left guard. He has a 60 Pro Football Focus grade this year. 64.7, 41.9, 66.6 the 3 years prior. He's still on his rookie deal. So I see this as someone who maybe gets a shot the final 7 games. Maybe you get him in a starting role. And if he flashes, okay, maybe you bring him back. I would be surprised if that happens, but you picked him up off the waivers for virtually nothing. So sure. Why not give it a run? He has starting experience, which is good. I trust Joe Douglas when it comes to evaluating the offensive line, and I think he's seen how much of an issue this interior of the offensive line has been for this team. They frankly have not been very good. They haven't. That's been one of the weakest parts. And sure, Connor McGovern, who was, to me, the big ticket free agent signing, has underwhelmed. He can get better. I would assume that he's going to be back next year and should be. The expectation is that he should play better. But Van Roten on the right side started really bad, has come on a little bit the last few weeks. And Lewis, who started really good, has went down the tubes the last couple of weeks. So they haven't had consistent guard play all year long. This, at minimum, brings in competition. Again, my expectations are low, but that's not really what I'm concerned about here. I'm just get another body in here. Why not? So I don't really have a huge issue with this. If it was up to me, I would like to see Cameron Clark play, but I don't think the Jets are going to do it this year. I don't. I guess they don't believe that he's ready. We'll see. I'm rooting for Clark to get on the field, but I think we'll see some of Elflein down the stretch here. I don't think he's been the same since his rookie year, and he's had a couple of injuries, so don't expect a whole lot. Expectations are not very high there. And the last bit of housekeeping, before we get to your voicemails, I know I love doing the voicemails, don't you worry. Jamal Adams' comments really rubbed me the wrong way today. Did not care for it one bit. So Jamal, on a podcast, came out and said that he was depressed in New York, and that going 7-9 bothered him. He would sit in a dark room. He would be all down in the dumps. And that his dad called his agent and was like, you got to get this guy out of here. And depression and anxiety and mental health is not something that I take lightly. I think it's a very serious topic. It's something that should be talked about more. But I really don't buy what Jamal Adams is selling, because the narrative has changed so many times. At first it was, I just want to get paid. Give me the money and I'll be here. Then it was, oh, wait, no, I got to get out of here. I don't like the coach. Then it was, I wasn't happy here. They don't want to win. The storyline has changed so many times. And to now, at this point, what, almost a year later, 6 months, 7 months later? When did they trade him? It's been a long time since they moved Jamal Adams. I don't like it. It rubs me the wrong way, because that's not what depression is. It's not what he was feeling. He's not describing depression. He's just throwing that out there because he doesn't want to take any excuse or blame for himself. It's not right. We talked about it on the stream last night with Ryan and Greenbean. Greenbean is a mental health specialist, so he had a lot more to say on it than I did, and I think he did a tremendous job explaining why it was tough to hear those words come out from him. And again, this is not something that you should take lightly. And it's troublesome to hear him, say that and not really understand the repercussions of it. I don't know. It doesn't sit right with me. That's the main point that I wanted to get out. I got it out on the stream last night. Get it out here. Again, mental health is it's important. It's important to talk about. So if you are struggling, please come out and say something and get the help that you need. It's something that it's important to me. So I wanted to talk about it, and it was bothering me. So I wanted to get that out on Jamal Adams. But good news for Jets fans. He is struggling right now in Seattle, not playing good football. So the trade's looking pretty good from the Jets' perspective because they got a couple of nice assets back in that deal. So yeah, I'll sign up for that right now. All right, let's get into those voicemails now. We're going to go to Aaron in Illinois, and he wants to talk about some future plans. Let's hear from him.
Hi, Matt. This is Aaron from Illinois. So I just thought I just thought of this just now, and I thought this was a great plan for the Jets' future. So after the season is over, I know the Jets are 0-9. We lost Monday Night Football. Should have won that game, but oh well. What I was thinking about is that so next year the Jets are gonna have there's gonna be around 28 free agents. They're gonna be free agents next year. So the Jets are gonna have a lot of cap space next year.
True.
And we're gonna have the number 1 pick and all this stuff. So my bright plan was to draft Trevor Lawrence.
Agree. 1 for 1.
I think we should resign Brashard Perriman. Definitely not our number 1 receiver, but probably around our fourth receiver.
Lukewarm
and
on that.
Try to get Allen Robinson. Get rid of Adam Gase. Get rid of the whole coaching staff. Get rid of the whole training staff.
Preach.
A whole complete redo. It needs a complete redo. Honestly, though, this draft for Joe Douglas is going to be a big, big draft.
Yes, sir.
I believe we have 9 draft picks for the next 2 years. If Joe Douglas, if he could hit these draft picks, this Jets team could be pretty good in a few years if he does it right. Hopefully he's not. Hopefully he's better than McCagnon and John Igzit. So I was wondering what you think of the Jets' future. I don't know. I personally think we could be pretty good if we do those things correctly.
Agree.
And especially I forgot one more thing.
Sure.
We gotta get this time. We have to get the right coach here this time. No more messing around. No more stupid hires or anything like that.
Agree.
No Jim Harbaugh. No Mike McCarthy.
No.
He's already taken, but he's not doing that good in Dallas right now either. I was trying to get Arthur Millett or Eric Bieniemy. So let me know what you think, Matt.
Preach it, man. You get me with the Harbaugh and Mike McCarthy thing. I agree with a lot of what you were saying, man. We'll start from the top. So Trevor Lawrence to me has to be the pick at 1. If you end up with the number 1 pick, it's going to be Trevor Lawrence. I'm lukewarm on bringing Brashad Perriman back as wide receiver 4, and if you're not paying him much, okay, sure. I might like to see them go a different direction, but that doesn't really make or break it for me. Definitely got to blow up the coaching staff. They all got to go, man. Huge draft for Joe Douglas. And I think the future can be bright, but like you said, they got to really nail this head coach. No more games. Let Joe Douglas hire the guy. All right? You don't end up with a Mike McCagnon, Todd Bowles pairing. That was brutal. Or hiring Adam Gase. Just get this hire right, please. Thank you, Aaron, for checking in. We're going to go to Eli, who wants to talk some Justin Fields.
Hey, Matt, this is Eli. I called in last week, and I was just watching your podcast, and I realized that my mic was terrible, so hopefully this is good. I tried to fix it. I think this should be better.
Sweet.
Anyways, I wanted to know what you thought about Justin Fields, because the more I learn about Justin Fields, he just grows on me more and more. When you look at his stats, every single one for last year was better than Trevor Lawrence's, except for yards, with Trevor Lawrence beat him out slightly. And even this year, I mean, the one downside is he's gone to Ohio State and the coaching there, and he has all this talent around him, but he produces, and even in high school, he's a top recruit. So if we get, let's say, pick number 2, and Jacksonville's one, they take Lawrence, do you think we should take Fields or trade back? Thanks for letting me call in.
Yeah, of course, man. I think Justin Fields would be the pick there. I think he's definitely an intriguing prospect for sure. I like Zach Wilson a lot. I don't know if I would say that I like him more than Justin Fields, but he really intrigues me out of BYU, man. There's something about his game. He's just a lot of fun. But Fields is a very good prospect. I think if Lawrence isn't in this draft, he's QB1 and he's going first overall. I understand he goes to Ohio State. That scares some people off. I don't really care so much for where the quarterback goes to school. I look at the individual prospect as a whole, not just what school they went to. And I think there are a lot of people who like Justin Fields. I can't put him ahead of Trevor Lawrence, and I'm not saying that you're doing that either. I completely understand why people are high on Fields and why you're high on Fields, and I think it makes sense. I don't think you're trading back at that point. I think you take Justin Fields. That's what my expectation would be if the Jets are picking second overall. So thank you for calling in, Eli. Next up, we're going to go Nick to Atlanta, and oddly enough, talking trading back.
Hey, Matt. It's Nick from Atlanta. So I just have a little scenario / question for you. So let's say, hypothetically, good old offensive genius, offensive guru goes 0-16 like he's destined to do.
Right.
So let's say we hold out. Let's say the Jags lose out. Let's say they've got the number 2 overall pick. I have a question for you. What trade package can the Jaguars call you and allow you to say, okay, that is just even worth more than Trevor is worth? So would they have to offer you, 10 picks in the next 4 years? Is it 6 picks? They have 2 firsts this year, 2 seconds, a third, 2 fourths this year. I think they have 2 seconds next year. They have a plethora of picks, maybe even, package in Josh Allen or K'Lavon Chaisson. Anything. What package do you would say, okay, that's even worth too much? Then we just slide back to 2 and take Fields. Just because Fields looks like an amazing talent. Now, trust me, I'm in the camp of just take Lawrence, but I'm just curious, what package to you would say, okay, that's just too much for him? Anyways, I love the show. You do a great job. Go Jets.
Thank you. And I'm with you. I think I want to make this clear. I'm very much so just take Lawrence, but let's get creative here. So for this year, you got to get the first 2 rounds. You got to get pick 2, 23, 34, 45. And that's what they're on pace for now. We assume that's where they're going to be, somewhere in that vicinity. And then you got to get picks in 2022 also. I know that sounds nuts, but you got to get at least probably 2 more picks in that draft class. Maybe a first and a second. I need a ton to give up on this guy. And I know that sounds crazy on paper. It's got to be something nuts like that. Like I said, the first round this year, second round this year, and at least 2 more picks in next year's draft. What rounds those in, I don't really know, but you got to give me 6 picks total to move up that 1 spot. I know one of them's a pick swap, so an extra 5 picks on top of that. That sounds so crazy, but I don't know. I really don't want to pass up on Trevor Lawrence, and that's not a knock on Justin Fields. I just think Trevor's that good of a talent. So, yeah, we'll see. Next, and thank you for checking in, Nick, by the way. Interesting question. We're going to go to Dom from Long Island, wants to talk about 2021 coaching candidates.
Hey, Matt, it's Dom from Long Island calling in again. Listen, I just watched your Jim Harbaugh video and totally agree with your take on that.
Thank you.
But it caused me to think about, other options we might run into for a head coach next year. And
sure,
honestly, I feel like it's got to be down to 3 guys. And that's just my personal preference, but
sure,
let's see what you think. Number 1, you got to go with Eric Bieniemy. He's been innovative in Kansas City, comes from that Andy Reid tree, and, he's done a lot of good things with that team over there. Then second, I really like the guy Matt Campbell out of Iowa State. I
like Campbell a lot, too.
He's turned that program around. They've looked very the beginning of the season, they look very good. You know, he's looked like he's developed players very well. They look like they respect him. And overall, I think he's just done a really good job with that program. So I think Matt Campbell is definitely someone that the Jets should really look into and do their homework on.
I agree.
When they're making this decision. And for the third one, I guess this is kind of a dark horse in a way because it's kind of a long shot. But if somehow, some way, you could get Lincoln Riley.
I knew this way it was
come
going.
out of Oklahoma and coach the Jets with Trevor Lawrence, you can't go wrong. I mean, look at what he did. Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts. I mean, when he has a quarterback with even a semblance of talent, he makes them look like superstars. So I could only imagine what he could do with Trevor Lawrence, and not to mention NFL-ready talent around him.
True.
So, I mean, that's my take. I really think you need an innovative guy like one of those three guys to come and just revamp this entire organization. But let me know what you think. And as always, go Jets.
Thank you for checking in. I agree with – I would be thrilled with any of those three hires. I really would. I don't think Lincoln Riley's coming, but in a dream scenario, I would love it, of course. Eric Bieniemy's high on my list. I like Matt Campbell a lot. PJ Fleck in the college route, I also like a lot. Joe Brady, I love from Carolina under Matt Rule right now. Arthur Smith is another name I would throw up there. Brian Dable's interesting to me. Greg Roman's taken a little bit of a hit, a little bit of a step back from the last couple of weeks, but there are a lot of intriguing choices, and I would be disappointed if it was a retread like Jim Harbaugh. I understand the success that he had early on in his career when he was with the 49ers. That was a decade ago at this point. He also forced his way out of that place because he was fighting for more power. That's my fear, is that there would be a power struggle and it would just be too many egos, too much tension. Don't like that. I really don't. I don't care for the personality. So I'm pretty much in lockstep with you, Dom, on your head coaching candidates. Next up, we're going to Elias, who wants to talk a little bit about the future.
Hey, Matt. This is Elias from Rochester. Wishing you a happy bye week. We don't have to torture ourselves this week, so amen to that. So my question is, who on this team is like a future building block, not including this past draft class? So I think like on the offensive side of the ball, maybe Connor McGovern turns it around a bit, and then that's kind of it. Maybe Crowder, if he's going to be, he's getting kind of older too, but still like not
he's a
including
little
this draft 2020 draft class. And then on the defensive side of the ball, I think Quinn Williams, I think Lorenzo Fatukasi's been really good, and then I've looked at John Franklin Myers, and then Brian Poole maybe, Marcus May probably, Mosley if he comes back, if he plays.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's surprisingly a couple good decent building blocks, especially in that interior defensive line position. So yeah, man. Also, myself too. I'm a temporary Jaguars fan now. So
let's go Jags.
That means, say it with me. Duval. So Jags, please win a few games so we can manage to win a game and get the number one pick. Yep, go Jaguars, go Jets. Keep up the great work, man.
I love it. Duval. Love it. Oh, my God. That's great. So the Jets do have a couple of building blocks, and I agree with most of what you said. Fatukasi is, I don't know if I'd go as far as saying a building block piece. I think he's a pretty good piece. Franklin Myers, I agree. I think is really good. Quinnen Williams, I think is good. Marcus May on the defensive side, I think is someone who's a building block. I would like to re-sign him. I don't think Brian Poole is going to be re-signed. The reason why I'm not going to include Jamison Crowder is because of his age and his contract. I think he's going to be here one more year, and I would be surprised if he gets another deal with the Jets. So I think he's a good player, no doubt about it, but I don't know if I'm ready to say a building block piece. McGovern, I agree, as a building block piece. I expect him to be better. There's really nobody else that I would look at and say, we're excluding this past draft class, of course. That's a building block per se. Maybe Chris Herndon could be, and the reason why I say that is he seems so likely to be the guy who's like turns it around post Gase. We see it all the time. Anywhere Gase goes, or when players leave Adam Gase and they turn it around, Herndon seems like the prime candidate to do just that. He really does. So I'm excited to see what he can do. I know he looks terrible right now. He really does look really bad, but I'm excited to see what he can do with a legitimate coach in 2021. And Trevor Lawrence, that'd be a lot of fun. So next up, we got No Name wants to talk about Trevor Lawrence.
Hey, Matt, it's me. Just calling in. I'm wondering, with all this talk about Trevor Lawrence possibly saying no to the Jets, do you really see any problems that would cause him to be deterred from the Jets? Most of the problems stem from the previous regime's failures, such as the hiring of Adam Gase and the poor roster construction by Mike McCagnon, which obviously will not be factors going into the 2021 offseason. So besides that, do you see any real problems that would deter Trevor Lawrence from coming to the Jets? Have a swell day!
I guess Mickey Mouse is a Jets fan. No, I don't think Trevor Lawrence is going to shy away from the Jets. I really don't. I think the comments were blown out of proportion. I think that he is, no matter who's picking one, if it's Washington, Jacksonville, he's going to go and he's trying to turn that franchise around. But I don't think it's going to be a matter of, I'm going to pull Eli Manning and demand a trade, or Peyton Manning going to return back to school. No. He's going to go to whatever team's picking first overall. I'm pretty confident in that. So next up, we are going to go to Thomas in New Jersey. He wants to talk about the future of the AFC East.
What's good, man? It's Tommy from New Jersey. And this is like the first time I call and I keep messing up, but I know we had a bye week, we didn't play this week, but if you're doing that episode, I just want to know, like, what you think about the future of the AFC East, because it's looking, I don't know about the Jets' future. It's looking pretty bad because, I mean, the Bills, they're a playoff team, yeah. I don't think they're going to get far. They might win one game. I doubt they will, but they might. And the Dolphins have been looking pretty solid as of recent. Tua, he's been playing decent. He's not been doing anything crazy, but he's looked good. The defense and the special teams look amazing. So there's that. I know the Patriots, they kind of regressing, but they got a lot of cap space. They got Bill Belichick still. You can't count them out of it. But, like, I thought it was the Jets' time. I thought the Jets were about to take over the division, but it's not looking like that anytime
not right
soon.
now.
So I just want to know your opinion. If you use this in the video, that'd be pretty cool. You probably been asked this question before, but I don't know. Just let me know. Peace out. Go Jets, I guess.
Thank you, Thomas. Appreciate you checking in, my man. So the future of the AFC East is interesting when you look at the three other teams. Right now, the Jets have a lot of work to do. Buffalo has a really good roster, and, I got to give him credit. I was not high on Josh Allen coming out. I still think he does have some flaws, but he's played really good football this year, and he's been better than I anticipated, and that team looks like a division contender. I don't know if they're a Super Bowl contender, but they're definitely a team that should be in the playoffs without a doubt and should be very good going forward. Miami is a team on the rise. I thought they'd be a year away, but Tua is here and playing really good football. Their coach looks to be really, really, really good. So they're a dangerous team. New England's interesting. They are not as good as what I thought they were going to be. And I figured the roster wasn't perfect, but I thought this was going to be like a 8, 9, maybe 10-win team. And they have not been good at all. And Bill Belichick's still there, and as long as he's still there, it's going to be very tough for me to say that they're going to go down in the dumps. And then you have the Jets after that. So right now, the Jets look like clear-cut 4. They could turn this thing around, especially if Trevor Lawrence is as good as anticipated. But my guess for the AFC East is that it's going to be a very competitive division. I don't know if you're going to say that it's going to be like the NFC West, where pretty much all 4 of those teams are really, really good. But I think you're going to see next year, I don't know. The Jets aren't going to go 0-16 again. It's way too early, but how about this? Within 2 years, you can have teams that are right all around 500. That seems pretty realistic. Because I don't think New England's going to completely crash and burn unless Belichick leaves. I don't think he's going to let it get that bad. But I don't know. Right now, the Jets seem to be far behind both Miami and Buffalo, which is a scary thing. Last one, we're going to go to old buddy Travis in Ohio. Wants to talk about my top 10 coaches list and if I'd change anything.
Hey, Matt! Travis from Ohio. My question to you is this. What about reevaluating your top 10 coaches video that you put out? We have Greg Roman, who Lamar Jackson is complaining about teams calling out their plays, and
that's a little frightening.
May have peaked, like Tyrod Taylor did and Colin Kaepernick did under him. Like, I'm not saying he's not inventive or better than what we got, obviously, but might be a glass ceiling to Greg Roman. Jim Harbaugh, oh my God, I completely agree with you.
Thank you, buddy. Good.
When I saw your video on them. I'm from freaking Ohio, so he's never beaten Ohio State.
No.
I've seen it. Plus, what championships has he won at San Diego State, Stanford, San Francisco, and Michigan? None. Like, he might have a winning team, but he doesn't get over the hump. So, definitely don't want him either. This one might hurt a little because Arthur Smith, I know he's your favorite, but Tennessee's offense doesn't look good right now. They don't. So, they've been struggling on the struggle bus. Right now, if you had to reevaluate your things,
okay,
your ratings, those three definitely, their stock is way down. Brian Daboll and Joe Brady's stock is way up.
Yep.
At least in my eyes. And
no, you're right.
And that's only 5 of them. So, and anything would be an upgrade from what we have right now. So, anyway, that's my question to you. If you had to reevaluate your top 10 coaches. So, love you. Stay healthy. Have a good turkey day and go Jets.
Thank you, bud. Thanks, man. You too. Travis, can I give you a homework assignment, my man? You call in all the time, so I wanna talk to Travis for a second. Next week, I hope you were listening and you hear this question. I want you to tell me what you think of Justin Fields. I think you owe it to the audience to let us know as the Ohio representative of the Just Jets podcast, the Matt O'Leary NY YouTube channel. We need to know the Travis take on Justin Fields. We need it like we need air to breathe. But in terms of the top 10 coaches, Arthur Smith and Greg Roman's stock have gone down because of their recent struggles. In the overall sample, I'm still very high on Arthur Smith. I think, to me, Roman stock has took a little bit more of a hit. I would still feel comfortable hiring them, but I'd maybe move them down the list a spot or two. I really agree with you on Brady. To me, he is climbing and climbing fast. Matt Campbell is climbing fast. PJ Fleck I like still a lot. Who was the other one that you had? Brian Daboll is someone who's I think is going to be really, really interesting to look at. So I definitely agree with you, and I'm curious to see how this season ends. But you're 100% right in saying that Arthur Smith and Greg Roman's stock are going down right now. They're not being talked about a lot because their teams are struggling a little bit. And, maybe that changes over the next 7 weeks or so. It wouldn't be the first time. The NFL is very, very strange. But, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens there. But thank you for checking in, Travis. And I would say that I still feel comfortable with with my top 10. I do agree, though, that the stocks are trending down. To me, Bieniemy's the same, and Joe Brady and Brian Daboll, like you mentioned, are rising. So we'll see what the Jets do. Hopefully they make the right decision. But that's going to do it for me on episode number 40. Can't believe we've done 40 of these already. Time's flying. It's an absolute blast. Thank you for checking in for Jets Therapy. I'm Matt O'Leary, and I will talk to you next time.